In April 2020, an anonymous user turned to the relationship advice subreddit, seeking help with a deeply unsettling situation he found himself in. He wrote, "I think my girlfriend and her sister are poisoning me. I'm an 18-year-old guy. I moved out of my parents' house as soon as I turned 18 because, well, let's just say they and I get on much better if we're not under the same roof. My girlfriend 19 and her sister 24 already had a flat together. So I moved in with them, and that's how it's been for the past 9 months. Generally, things are fine. I love my girlfriend, and I like her sister. Our living arrangement charge setup is really no different from any other couple living with a flatmate situation. Perfectly normal." Now, both of the girls love to cook. Their dad is a Michelin star chef, so food and cooking was always a big part of their lives. "I'm fine with this. I'm not a bad cook by any means, but these two are amazing at it. Plus, we have a fair trade. They do all the cooking, I do all the cleaning. I find cleaning very cathartic, so it's usually a sweet deal. I get really bomb meals cooked for me in exchange for doing something I enjoy." Things have changed recently. It started about 3 weeks ago when the whole quarantine thing got really ramped up. I started getting sick. At first I worried I caught the virus, but it just wasn't the virus. No respiratory symptoms, no cold, nothing like that. Just stomach cramps and horrible vomiting. I figured at first I'd caught some other bug, but then it came back again and again. At least 1 to 2 times a week for a couple of days at a time, I was getting these episodes of stomach pain like you wouldn't believe and spewing my guts up. I couldn't figure out what was up until I spoke to a friend about it, and she asked if it was maybe something I'd been eating. Now, I don't have any real food allergies. I'm a bit dodgy with dairy, but not on a feel like I'm on death's door and vomit all the fluids out of my body level. More just bit of discomfort and spend ages on the L type of stuff. Still, I mentioned it to my girlfriend and asked if she'd changed anything about how she was cooking recently. She got really weird, defensive, as to what I was accusing her of. I said I wasn't accusing her of anything. I just think I might have developed an allergy to something and want to know what it could be. She told me I'm just being paranoid and I just have a bug. I dropped it because she seemed really annoyed. Since then, I've noticed some weird stuff which really is making me paranoid. Like they shout at me to get out if I go in the kitchen while they're cooking. I've offered to both of them on several occasions, "Hey, I'll cook tonight." But they vehemently turn me down and seem almost offended I'd offer. They both keep giving me these glances at mealtimes like they're waiting to see how I react. If I say I don't feel good or don't want to eat, both of them take it as a personal attack on their cooking, and if it's my girlfriend, she'll cry until I cave and eat it. There have been times when one or both of them seem to know I was about to get sick after eating. They text each other when they're in the same room if I'm there. I think they think I haven't caught on to that, but it's obvious, honestly. Neither of them is particularly sympathetic when I do get sick. I don't know, I'm being paranoid. Maybe quarantine is getting to me. But I'm really convinced they're doing something to my food to make me ill. It's the only explanation I can come up with. Thing is, I don't know what to do. If I confront them and I'm wrong, I'm a jerk for even thinking it. If I confront them and I'm right, things could escalate badly. I'd really appreciate any advice or words of wisdom here. Thank you in advance. One of the top comments on this post gave the OP some solid advice for finding the truth, but this only made the situation seem even more suspicious. Switch plates with one of them either with or without their knowledge. If they know you want to switch plates, they will refuse, which would be a red flag. Or if you switch without their knowledge, you would be able to see how the plate originally meant for you affects them. They're always super particular about making sure I get the right plate. I hadn't thought about asking to switch. But the thing is, this could have gone either way. As one commenter pointed out, "I've seen this before. It was a post on here. A person's husband was a cook and started using some kind of spice. He didn't believe it was making her sick. She got tested and was, in fact, allergic. He confessed, and they reconciled." In another post, a fellow was using garden slugs in his girlfriend's meals on purpose. You need to consider both possibilities. The second half of this comment was referring to a now-deleted post from March of 2020. In it, a woman seeks advice on what to do after making the horrifying discovery that her partner of 4 years was putting garden slugs in her food. In addition to being incredibly gross, this was also highly dangerous, as these slugs can contain brain-eating parasites. Put simply, there was no obvious answer to the OP's predicament. On the one hand, it's entirely possible that the OP was just being paranoid. This could have also been an early sign of a mental health issue, where he's seeing patterns and behaviors that don't actually exist. A few people also suggested a gastrointestinal test to see if there was something wrong with his stomach. This is because conditions like Crohn's disease can cause persistent digestive issues regardless of diet. It could have also been a combination of the two, where his real symptoms were making the paranoia worse. But as this one user mentioned, a potential poisoning wasn't entirely off the table. If we assume that the OP's observations are completely accurate, there's a good chance that he was getting poisoned. What makes this even more sinister, however, is that his girlfriend and her sister were disturbingly deliberate in their actions. They didn't lace his food with a stronger poison because then the OP might go to a doctor who would likely find the toxic substance in his system. Instead, they were poisoning him slowly, likely in the hopes of keeping him oblivious until his eventual death. Many people took this possibility seriously, with some even brainstorming ways for the OP to protect himself without jeopardizing his relationship if it all turned out to be a misunderstanding. I don't have a magic bullet answer for you, but I can tell you what to do. On September 3, 2024, a Reddit user shared the unsettling sight they came across on a hike in Austin, Texas, reading "Sun crosses in South Austin." Anyone know what's up? Went hiking with my sister and dog today at the Westgate and Stassi area, and we kept seeing piles of rocks made into crosses. We stopped counting at 11. Does anyone know what these are? One of them had animal bones mixed into it. Weird voodoo or just memorials? Alongside this, they also shared several images of the many stone crosses they described in their post. The OP also provided some more context in later comments stating, "We didn't see anyone around, but there was a ton of trash back in the woods." It was creepy though, with cross after cross. Felt off. Definitely going to find new paths to walk the dog because I don't want to meet their architect. Usually, discoveries like these will lead to some interesting but predictable answers. For all we know, these could have been part of a ritual site of sorts from centuries ago, or something along those lines. However, that wasn't the case here, as some of these crosses contained modern materials like concrete and painted metal fence posts. In other words, these were put together a lot more recently, which begged the question, who made these? And why? To this one user gave a very urgent and concerning response. Call APD 311 and tell them you think Ramy Zoia is back in the neighborhood. He escaped custody from a mental institution in June. I don't know whether he is still wanted. Good luck getting APD to do something. Google him and talk to your neighbors. Put simply, these crosses were the work of an unstable homeless man named Ramy Zoia. In the last few years, South Austin residents say they have spotted Ramy Zoia building sculptures, taking a sledgehammer to city property, screaming at all hours of the night, and cutting down trees in the greenbelt using a chainsaw and machete. From what I could find online, Ramy is originally from New York and struggles with severe mental health issues and violent tendencies. As one local resident described her account with him stating, "He's very profane. He's beginning to target me and my little dog, talking about murder, calling me obscene names." Reports of Ramy disturbing locals go back years, like this similar Reddit post from another Austin resident from December of 2023, reading, "These weird rock cross formations appeared seemingly overnight in the little green space between Westgate and Monaca. Anyone have any idea what they may be for?" While looking through the wooded area surrounding these strange sightings, I even found what looked like Ramy's base of operations. A quick search on the guy also shows that Ramy's been doing this for quite a while. He'd been arrested 6 times in less than a year. However, all the charges were either dropped or dismissed. He was also ordered to undergo temporary inpatient mental health services back in April of 2024, but he managed to escape from the hospital within a few weeks of his detainment to continue his work. The same work that was later described by the OP in early September. As their post picked up steam more and more, locals joined the conversation to share what they knew about Ramy as well. As it turns out, Ramy wasn't just a misunderstood artist who should have been left alone. He was highly unstable and posed a great threat to the people in that neighborhood. I live on Westgate near Stasny, about 1 block from where the crosses are. I just recently found a smart key outside of my home, a verified lock-picking tool in the back patio area, and I'm truly concerned he tried to break in but gave up very recently. Last year, around this time, he would specifically target my home and steal water from my downstairs faucet, carrying large gallon containers of the stolen water on his bicycle. I filed a 311 report and have reached out to the APD district representative and left a message, but 311 told me I should keep calling. They have 14 days to respond to my concerns. Super great feeling. I'm feeling very, very uneasy and scared. I believe I saw him once. What happened is that I saw a man outside my apartment building casually stroll by, bash someone's windshield in with a sledgehammer, and casually continued strolling. Zoya had a sledgehammer. He used to break decorative white boulders that were on the side of the street. It appears he has now made crosses onto the broken rocks. He also had a chainsaw and cut down numerous trees. He said the devil was in the trees. He did this day and night for months on end. Not only did he destroy property, he threatened to murder people out for walks. Oh, and people said he asked stray cats in half. Now, from what I could find, he's never been charged with any form of animal cruelty. That said, the OP did find animal bones in a few of the crosses he built, so it's possible there's some truth to the statement. As for his motive, a journalist who spoke with him reported that he claimed to be, quote, taking out Satanism. Apparently, he believes that these woods are the worshiping grounds for a group of Satanists, making these crosses his way of purifying the landscape. Regardless of his reasoning, it's clear that he's mentally unwell and is a danger to the public. There are already rumors of him attacking stray animals, and it's not a stretch to imagine him turning his chainsaw on a person if he sees it as a necessary sacrifice to fulfill his goal. Thankfully, something of that nature hasn't happened as of yet. He was arrested again in late September and was even sentenced to 240 days in jail. But since he had already spent a long time in confinement in the past couple of years, his sentence was deemed served and he was released. At the time of writing, Rami is still out there and posing a threat to the people around him.